Imagine you're walking through a foggy forest. The path is hidden, the trees loom large, and everything feels uncertain. Now imagine someone nearby sees others lost in that fog but says, "Let's just be quiet, let them find their way alone." Would you call that love or neglect? In a world filled with confusion and spiritual lies, many people believe the kindest thing Christians can do is to stay quiet. Don't argue, don't make people uncomfortable, just be nice and harmless. But is that really what God asks of us? Let's step into this question not as critics but as learners, not to stir up strife but to shine a light. Some people point to Philippians chapter 2 verses 14 and 15 where Paul writes, "Do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, among whom ye shine as lights in the world." They think Paul is saying, no debates, no standing up, just smile and wave, but that's a misread. Let's look closer. The word disputings in that passage isn't about honest discussions or defending truth. It's about the grumbling, doubting spirit that divides and distracts. And harmless doesn't mean passive, it means sincere, pure, without hidden agendas. Paul is saying, don't be bitter, don't be petty, be bright, shine like stars in a dark world. And yes, sometimes stars shine brightest when they point out the darkness. Ironically, the very man who wrote those words, Paul, spent much of his life debating, reasoning and standing up for the truth. Just after becoming a Christian, Paul, he confounded the Jews, proving that this is very Christ, as it says in Acts chapter 9, verse 22. That's not passive, is it? That's persuasion with passion. And when some tried to force Gentiles to follow Jewish customs, Paul and Barnabas had, as the scripture puts it, no small dissension and disputation with them in Acts chapter 15, verse 2. They didn't say, let's just agree to disagree. No, they stood their ground so the truth of the gospel would remain intact, as you see in Galatians chapter 2, verses 4 to 5. Some stumble over the word debate in Romans chapter 1, verse 29, and 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 20, where Paul condemns it. But in those places, debate refers to contentious wrangling, the kind of fighting that comes from pride, not conviction. It's the person who wants to win, not to save. But Paul's own life shows that defending truth with love and wisdom is not only allowed, it's needed. Let's not forget Stephen in Acts chapter 6. His opponents just couldn't stand against the wisdom and spirit with which he spoke. He stood up, fully aware it could cost him his life. Or take Apollos, a man who, once taught more accurately by Aquila and Priscilla, mightily convinced the Jews, showing by the scriptures that Jesus was Christ, as it says in Acts chapter 18, verse 28. He didn't whisper, he reasoned. Paul didn't stop there. In Ephesus he reasoned boldly for 3 months in the synagogue, and when resistance came he moved to the school of Tyrannus and just kept going, disputing daily, as we see in Acts chapter 19, verses 8 and 9. Why all this effort? Because truth matters, and silence can be deadly. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a doctor sees a patient with a growing tumour but says nothing, fearing it might make the patient uncomfortable. That's not compassion, that's cowardice. Now, just imagine a firefighter who sees smoke curling under a door but says, let's not be dramatic, let's wait and see. Well, that's not kindness, that's negligence. Truth is a rescue line, and when people are in danger, honestly, the worst thing we can do is stay silent. That's why Paul told Titus that elders must be able to convince the gainsayers, and that some mouths must be stopped. That's in Titus chapter 1, verses 9 to 11. If they're not corrected, others may never become sound in the faith, as it says in verse 13. Even Jesus, the Prince of Peace, was a mighty debater. When the Pharisees twisted God's law or the Sadducees denied the resurrection, he didn't shrug and walk away. He answered, he exposed their errors, not to shame them, but to save them. He told the Sadducees, ye do err, not knowing the Scriptures. That's from Matthew chapter 22, verse 29. He rebuked the Pharisees for their hypocrisy. His confrontations weren't about pride, they were about clarity and love. C.S. Lewis once said that love is something far deeper than mere kindness. Kindness merely wants to avoid pain, but love, real love, wants the best for another, even if it's uncomfortable. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to tell someone they're wrong. But here's the balance. Paul told Timothy, the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves. That's from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 24 to 25. So yes, speak, but speak with gentleness. Yes, stand firm, but stand with grace. When we speak truth with love, we're not picking fights, we're saving lives. We live in a world full of fog, full of lost paths and misleading signs. People are being led astray by false teachers, smooth talkers and loud influencers. If we don't speak up, who will? Silence in the face of error is not holiness, it's surrender. So take up the sword of the Spirit, as it says in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17. Be ready to give an answer, just as we read in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. Speak the truth in love, as Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15 reminds us, not to win arguments, but to win hearts. Let your voice be steady, let your heart be kind. And when error speaks loudly, let truth answer louder still. Not with shouting, but with shining, not with pride, but with purpose. Not with fear, but with faith.